counter-terrorism operation. That is New South Wales Police working very closely with our Commonwealth partners to ensure that we thoroughly investigate the circumstances of the incident yesterday. We have progressed at pace overnight with that investigation, and as a result of investigations undertaken, I can say that we are not looking for a further offender. We are satisfied that there were 2 offenders involved in yesterday's incident. One is deceased, the second is in critical but stable condition in hospital at the moment. The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased, the 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment. As part of the investigation, we conducted 2 search warrants last night, one at Bondi Rig and a second at Campsie. The 50-year-old male is a licensed firearms holder. He has 6 firearms licensed to him. We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi. We will continue to investigate this matter thoroughly. It's important for the community to have the reassurance that New South Wales Police, working with our Commonwealth partners, will not stop until we understand the reasons behind this senseless incident and take any available action that we need to do. We always work closely with our Commonwealth partners to make sure that we keep the community safe. This is a very difficult time for all law enforcement agencies, and I would really like to call out the work of New South Wales Ambulance last night, and we're joined by the Commissioner Morgan this morning. The ambulance officers were absolutely outstanding in their response. 16 deceased persons is obviously a great tragedy for this state. Our thoughts, prayers and love go out to all of the families of the deceased. We pray that those who are injured recover quickly. I have 2 police officers currently in hospital at the moment. Both are in critical but stable condition. And again, the thoughts of the New South Wales Police are very much with those officers and their families. This morning we commenced Operation Shelter. It is an operation that we have previously run. We have escalated the number of police that are involved. Operation Shelter is designed to provide comfort to the Jewish community. We will make sure that we are highly visible at places of worship, places that are known to be frequented by the Jewish community, but very much in those suburbs where we know that we have a large Jewish population. I want to make it very clear that the New South Wales Police will not tolerate the types of violence or the types of anti-Semitic behaviour that we have seen. We will have 328 officers on the ground this morning as part of Operation Shelter. That operation will continue to work very closely with the Jewish community to make sure that we both prevent but also respond to anything that may happen. I was very clear last night to call for calm. This is not a time for anyone to be seeking retribution. This is a time for community to grieve and to heal. The New South Wales Police will do what it does best, and that is to prevent but investigate offences that happen. And we will be here to support the community. I might hand over to Commissioner Morgan, I think, if there's anything you'd like to say, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Could I just express my condolences to the victims, the families and friends, and certainly those that remain in hospital at this time. Our best wishes and prayers are going out to you. This was obviously a significant incident that has occurred at Bondi Beach last night. New South Wales Ambulance got its initial call via New South Wales Police at 18:43 last evening. Our first crews were on scene within less than 10 minutes. This took a response of more than 123 personnel from New South Wales Ambulance. Both New South Wales Police and New South Wales Ambulance worked seamlessly, I'm advised, through this entire incident in support of the community. I cannot convey how important that is. We are told stories of amazing heroism, of paramedics and police working seamlessly together with members of the community. Some of our paramedics are from the Jewish community and attended that scene and continued their duties diligently and professionally. Of that initial response, New South Wales Ambulance transported 24 patients, particularly in the first wave. There were and attended 14 people who were deceased at the scene. Through the course of the evening, another 2 people succumbed to their conditions at New South Wales hospitals, and a total of 42 people attended New South Wales facilities. It is not uncommon in these major incidents for members of the community, sometimes often with very serious injuries, to make their own way to hospitals so that they are not burdening the resource of the services. This is what it means to be Australian. I do want to make the point that there is a significant amount of support available from the New South Wales health system. I could commend to the community that there are great resources available on the New South Wales Health website if you need mental health support, and some reference material if you also need that. Just in conclusion, I do want to make the point. There were some amazing lessons learned from the Bondi Westfield Shopping Centre. Last night, I am told, the command structures were seamless, the joint agency approach, the ability for paramedics with the support of police to work in these hot zones, I'm absolutely convinced contributed to the saving of lives that otherwise would have been lost. Finally, just one message for the first responders at these scenes. You are an inspiration to us all. The way you put yourself in harm's way, your courage and resilience, we all thank you.
Thanks, we'll have you take questions.
Commissioner Lanyon, can you elaborate? You said yesterday that one of the gunmen was known to police. Was that gunman known to police for extremist views, and were any terror symbols displayed at the attack yesterday?
I prefer not to comment at the moment. We're still very early in the investigation. We'll be happy to provide further information that it goes along. I want to give our investigators the opportunity to investigate thoroughly without speculation. We did hear last night a lot of information was coming forward. I want to make sure that it's accurate.
Commissioner, there are reports of black ISIS-style flag was draped over the government's car. Are police aware of this as a flag being recovered?
That's all part of the investigation. As I just said before, I'd rather not comment on that right at the moment. Obviously, we will look at the motives behind this attack, and I think that's really important as part of the investigation. Our investigation will be thorough, and we will be happy to provide further information.
Was there any watch list or intelligence agency?
Sorry, can I just have one? Sorry.
Was there any indication that the shooters were known to any service ahead of time?
There was no indication to indicate that either of the men involved in yesterday's attack was planning the attack that happened yesterday.
Did they lose any?
Sorry.
Any manifesto or notes?
Again, that is part of the investigation. I don't want to go into that this morning. We've got investigators that have been working around the clock. I'm incredibly proud of the work that has been undertaken so far. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to understand the motives behind it, and we certainly want to understand the actions that have happened. I cannot give a running commentary on the investigation. I want to give the investigators time to work through this properly.
Is there anything you can tell us about ideology?
At this stage, no, I won't comment on that. We'll continue to work through that. That is part of the investigation to understand the motives behind it.
So how long had the 50-year-old had a gun licence? And you said yesterday that the deceased was known to police here. Was the same individual the one that was known to ATO? Do you understand anything about that?
I think last night, there was wide speculation that the younger of the 2 men had been deceased. That's not the case. The older man was deceased. I'm told that he has had a gun licence for approximately 10 years.
And the younger man, he was the one known to police and to ATO. Do you have any more information on that?
No, I don't. And I think I said last night it was very limited knowledge of the
Can
authorities.
you elaborate on why he was known to police?
No, I can't. Not this morning. That's all part of the investigation.
Can you confirm the identities of the gunmen and whether they were staying at an Airbnb in Catley?
I can certainly indicate that they were staying at an address at Campsie. Their residential address is in Bondi. They were staying at an address in Campsie.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has laid some words on your feet. What is your response to Netanyahu's comments yesterday that were pretty inflammatory?
This is a moment for national unity. This is a moment for Australians to come together. That's precisely what we will be doing.
Is it a failure that these men weren't seriously on the radar of our authorities?
Look, our authorities do an extraordinary job. As Commissioner Lanyon has said, investigations have already made some progress. The fact that there were raids on the home in Bondi and at Campsie last night. We will continue to provide every resource possible to the AFP and as well to our intelligence and security agencies.
Police Commissioner, not looking for a third offender, that means not just no third shooter, but no other persons of interest or suspected accessories. How do you know that these two were acting alone?
What I'm saying is that we will conduct a thorough investigation. If there is any other person that is associated with the two offenders that we believe that was either involved or responsible for what took place, we will take appropriate action. What I'm saying very clearly is that there were two persons involved yesterday. There were two persons in this atrocity. We are not looking for a third person who was involved in yesterday's incident directly.
Was anyone arrested during that? This is a failure that this man was able to get a gun licence and that he was not more on the radar of authorities.
I think there's actually legislation that governs how people have a firearms licence. So what I've said so far, and I'm not going to go further into it at this stage, there was very little knowledge of either of these men by the authorities. The person was determined to be entitled to have a firearms licence and had a firearms licence. The person had had a firearms licence for a number of years for which there were no incident and it was regulated. I think it's probably premature to be talking about this. When I'm speaking about an investigation, we want to get to the circumstances of everything that occurred yesterday and what led up to it. We are determined to make sure that investigation is thorough.
Why was there so little knowledge of these individuals, particularly the 24-year-old who you did know about? That this was a planned attack. It doesn't appear to have been something that spontaneously happened.
I think that's really part of the investigation. We want to understand the motive behind these two people. There are many people in the community for which the police have very little knowledge about, and quite rightly so. We want to understand whether these people were further involved in any offences, but we have no history to say that's the case.
Are their families cooperating?
Sorry, can I just...
Are their families cooperating?
We will be speaking to the families. We have spoken to the families.
What was the purpose of the firearms licence?
Sorry, what was
what was the purpose of the firearms licence? What was his reason for having the firearms?
I don't have that information this morning. What I've said is that he did hold a firearms licence and did have 6 registered firearms.
Premier, clearly it's early in the investigation, but obviously a terrorist has been able to hold a firearms licence. If changes need to be made to our gun laws in New South Wales, will you make changes?
The short answer is yes. We're looking at that right now. Obviously, we're in the early stages of this investigation. New South Wales Police need to provide all the details of this inquiry to the government, but I made it clear last night that we will take every step we possibly can to keep our community safe, and we'll be looking at law reform along that route. And this is an intolerable situation. This is an attempt to break apart our social life, to divide Australian against Australian. There's a massive role for the government, New South Wales Police and regular citizens to play here to ensure that we keep our community safe, and I won't hesitate to move legislation if it's required.
Do you see this as a failure that this man and his son were not picked up by authorities and able to get a gun licence?
Look, I can't say at this point. I mean, I think it's important that we allow police to conduct their investigation. Of course, there will be a comprehensive inquiry. This is a massive terrorist event in Australia's largest city, targeted on Jewish Australians. We need to get to the bottom of exactly how this happened so that we can take steps to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Now, I think in these circumstances it's important that no stone is left unturned, and New South Wales Police are given time to conduct that investigation, but we have to do everything we possibly can to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Part of that may be law reform, almost certainly it will be. Part of it will be a comprehensive police response, but it also goes down to the level of confronting racism and anti-Semitism in our community. We saw a shocking act of public violence yesterday afternoon, but we've seen time after time over the last 2 years in particular, but even before that, of public acts of anti-Semitism in our community. It lights a fire, it's toxic, it gets into the marrow of a community, and the only sensible, fair and just response is a community standing up as one and saying we will not tolerate racism, we will not tolerate anti-Semitism in New South Wales. James.
Eyewitness reports last night included that police, up to 4 police were standing around one of the active shooters, not giving fire back, just standing there. An eyewitness said that it was like they froze.
James, no, sorry, hang on a sec. I'm just going to stop you there. I'm not going to speculate on that right now. What I will say is that there are 2 New South Wales police officers in critical condition in New South Wales hospitals who stepped into the breach and could have lost their lives last night. I'm not going to go into the circumstances of police officers that returned fire, but I can tell you their bravery, their courage in these circumstances saved countless lives. And I would just urge everybody, don't jump to conclusions at this point. It's important that we have a full and comprehensive investigation, but certainly don't run down the police at this early hour. Sorry, I'm going to end.
Provide us with some more detail on what explosive devices were found at the scene and what had to be done to disarm them.
Yes, certainly. There were 2 improvised explosive devices found at the scene. They were taken by our rescue and bomb disposal unit. They were found to be active devices, so they were taken back and rendered safe by our police, who do a professional job.
And does that mean they could have been triggered by phones, or can you tell us anything about how they would have been triggered?
I believe that they were more rudimentary in that. I think it would have been there would have been a wick or something similar that would have been used to actually do that. I think they were fairly basic in terms of their construction.
Last time they were going to be used?
No, I don't. Not at this stage. That's why we're investigating so thoroughly. We want to get to the bottom of this. I've made it really clear that we want to understand every circumstance. I am very glad that those devices were not activated, but really our thoughts and prayers at the moment are with everyone who has lost someone.
Jewish Australians have been warning something like this could have happened. They have been petrified for more than 12 months now. Has your government failed Jewish Australians when their worst nightmare was realised last night?
My government will continue to stand with Jewish Australians and continue to stand to stamp out anti-Semitism in all of its forms. We have taken strong action. We'll continue to work with the community. This morning I've already had a discussion with the anti-Semitism envoy, the first one ever appointed in Australia, Gillian Siegel. Last night I spoke with Peter Wertheim and other leaders of the Jewish community. We'll continue to work with them, because this is a time where all Australians need to wrap our arms around Jewish Australians. So we stand with them, we stand against anti-Semitism, we will do whatever is necessary to stamp it out. Anti-Semitism is a scourge. It's been around for a long period of time. We need to do whatever we can to stamp it out.
Do we need to go and crack down like John Howard carried out after Port Arthur? He took leadership on that, will you?
Well, we will look at whatever is necessary, whatever comes out of this investigation. If there is any action required in terms of legislative response, we will certainly have it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.